Part 3. The letter was cold and transactional, as if we were business associates rather than mother and daughter. I forwarded it to my attorney, who handled the arrangements without requiring further involvement from me. Since then, communication has been minimal and strictly related to legal and financial matters. Mom hasn't asked how I'm doing or expressed any interest in reconciliation. Emma blocked me on all social media and apparently told mutual friends that she no longer has a sister. It's painful, but in a strange way, also clarifying. The masks have completely fallen away, and I can now see our family dynamic for what it always was. The most unexpected outcome has been the reconnection with Dad's side of the family. My aunt, Dad's sister, has been incredibly supportive, inviting me for weekly dinners and introducing me to extended family I rarely saw growing up because Mom always claimed they didn't like her. It turns out they were just kept at a distance because they saw through some of Mom's manipulations and had tried to warn Dad early in their marriage. As for the inheritance itself, it's far less significant than the relationship damage. I've decided to use a portion of my share to establish a small scholarship at Dad's alma mater for students interested in his field. He would have liked that, I think, turning something painful into something positive for others. 3 months have passed since the court ruling, and I'm slowly finding my new normal. Grief counseling has been essential, helping me process not only the loss of my father but also the effective loss of my mother and sister. My therapist says it's normal to grieve these relationships even though Mom and Emma are still alive, and she's right, it feels like another kind of death. Last week, I finally felt strong enough to sort through the box of Dad's possessions that the attorney had been holding for me. Among the items was a journal Dad had kept during his illness. In one of the final entries, he wrote, "I worry for my daughter after I'm gone. She has always seen the best in people, even when they don't deserve it. I hope my actions will protect her not just financially, but will also finally show her the truth she's been too kind to see on her own." Dad was right. As painful as this journey has been, it revealed truths I needed to see. I'll always miss the family I thought I had, but I'm gradually making peace with the reality of who they actually are. And in honor of Dad, I'm trying to maintain my capacity for seeing the best in people, just with clearer eyes and stronger boundaries. Final update. It's been 6 months since my last update, and so much has changed that I barely know where to begin. I want to thank everyone for the supportive messages and advice. They've been a lifeline during the darkest moments of this journey. First, the practical matters. The inheritance has been fully settled, with the house now legally in my name, with Mom's life estate rights as Dad intended. I've moved into the family home, partly because my apartment lease was ending, but mostly because it felt right to preserve Dad's space rather than selling it immediately. Being surrounded by his things brings both comfort and pain, but the comfort grows stronger each day. Mom did find her own place, a luxury condo that, interestingly, costs considerably more than the monthly allowance Dad's will provides her. When I asked my attorney about this, he suggested that Mom likely had financial resources I wasn't aware of. This led to another discovery. Mom had apparently been maintaining a separate bank account for years, one that Dad had no knowledge of. According to Uncle Phil, this account contained money from my maternal grandmother's estate, money that should have been partially distributed to him. The revelation didn't surprise me as much as it once would have. As for Emma, she's maintained her distance, which has been a blessing in disguise. The restraining order expired, but I haven't renewed it since she's shown no interest in contacting me. Through mutual connections, I've heard she's planning to move across the country for a fresh start with her boyfriend. I wish her well, even though I doubt she would say the same for me. The family division has largely solidified. Holiday celebrations were awkward this year, with relatives essentially forced to choose sides. Thanksgiving saw 2 separate gatherings, one at Emma's place with Mom and their supporters, and another at my aunt's house with Dad's side of the family and the few relatives who have maintained relationships with both camps. I opted for the latter and found more healing and genuine connection than I've experienced at family gatherings in years. The most unexpected development came from a distant cousin on Dad's side who works in mental health. After hearing my story, she gently suggested that my mother might have narcissistic personality traits, and that my family dynamic showed signs of the golden child/scapegoat pattern common in such families. This led me down a research rabbit hole that has been simultaneously painful and illuminating. So many aspects of my childhood that I'd normalized suddenly made sense through this lens: Mom's constant comparison of Emma and me, the shifting standards of behavior, the way Dad often ran interference between Mom and me. I brought these insights to my therapist, who has been helping me reprocess my childhood memories with this new understanding. There have been moments of attempted reconciliation. 2 months ago, Mom called out of the blue, her voice unusually soft, asking if we could put the past behind us and be a family again. The conversation seemed promising until she added, "After all, we've both lost something from this whole mess. I think we're even now." That statement, equating her deliberate deception and emotional manipulation with my justified legal response, told me everything I needed to know about her perspective. She wasn't seeking reconciliation, she was seeking to re-establish the prior dynamic where her behavior went unchallenged. I politely told her I wasn't ready for that step, and we haven't spoken since outside of necessary financial communications. The most healing aspect of this journey has been discovering who my true support system is. Friends who initially pulled away due to Mom and Emma's manipulation have reached out after learning the full story, though some relationships remain irrevocably changed. New friendships have formed, particularly with people who have experienced similar family trauma and understand the complex grief I'm navigating. I've also developed a stronger relationship with Uncle Phil, who recently shared family photos and stories from before I was born. It's been wonderful learning about Dad's younger years from someone who knew him as a brother rather than a husband or father. These stories have helped me feel connected to him in new ways. As for my own path forward, I've made some significant decisions. I've accepted a new job that allows more remote work, giving me flexibility to travel and create the life I want rather than remaining tethered to the location of my fractured family. I've also started volunteering with a grief support group for young adults who have lost parents, finding purpose in sharing my experience to help others feel less alone. The journals Dad left behind have become a treasured resource. I read entries on difficult days, finding new insights and occasional moments of unexpected humor in his observations. In one of the earliest entries after his diagnosis, he wrote, "The strangest gift of terminal illness is perfect clarity. Suddenly, you see people exactly as they are, without the filters of hope or expectation. Some revelations break your heart, while others restore your faith. The trick is knowing which ones to focus on." I'm trying to follow his wisdom by focusing on the revelations that restore faith rather than the ones that break hearts. It's not always easy, but I'm making progress. The pain of losing my mother and sister while they're still alive has not disappeared, but it has evolved into something more manageable, a dull ache rather than a sharp, constant pain. To anyone facing similar family betrayal, I can't promise that everything will work out perfectly. Some relationships may be permanently altered or lost. But I can say with certainty that standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult, even when it costs you relationships, brings a different kind of peace that's worth fighting for. Dad knew that. In his final act of protection, he gave me not just financial security but the push I needed to see the truth and value myself enough to stand firm in it. For that gift, I will be eternally grateful.